and let's start. Okay. So, for the people who have just come now, a very good evening. I'm Sahejarora. I welcome you to the first podcast of Humari Humari Talks. Today we are on board with CA Sameer Arora, and we had already given this introduction. We'll just start directly with the questions. First question is the rapid fire. You just have 5 seconds to answer. The first question is, what is your favorite quote?
So code something that I use more often, at work as well as outside is what gets measured gets improved. I think for anything to improve, you need to measure it well. That could be the number of times you work out to the amount of return that you get on your investment. So everything, and even when you go to the gym, if you don't measure the performances on your muscle and your weight, you never know whether you're improving or not. So that's the code that is favorite for me.
Agreed, agreed. Makes sense, makes sense. Second, who is the one person who you admire the most in your life?
Mm,
Someone who's like a role model to you.
yeah, so multiple people, multiple times of life, likes to admire Elon Musk for the kind of ambition and the impact that he's trying to, into the world. But my all-time favorite would always be Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. I think for the simplicity, the thought, and the way he's always led his life, I think he's been the
Yeah,
one of the heroes for me.
agreed, sir. Agreed. Third question. What is your favorite book? I guess you are a lot into reading. What is your favorite book?
I think the one book that impacted me the most in my earlier younger days was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think lots of learning in terms of building, businesses, building, understanding about rat race, and a new book called Psychology of Money in recent times. So two books,
Agreed.
maybe
Yeah.
not one.
Okay. Nice. Fourth question. Do you prefer mountains or beaches? Are you a mountain guy or a beach guy?
Mountain guy.
Mountain guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Fifth, sports which you follow the most. Are there any sports which see every day? You follow every single highlight of the sport.
Mm, I think I would go with where most Indians are cricket. I think. Yeah. So maybe and
Just an Indian
following,
sport.
yeah, just following IPL and seeing Mumbai Indians lose nowadays.
Next, who's your favorite actor? It can be Bollywood, Hollywood, any. Who's your favorite actor?
Favorite actor, mm, I think in my younger days or my earlier days, I'm still young, but I used to enjoy movies of Govinda. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, so I think he still, the way he used to be on screen,
Hmm.
I still love him as an actor.
Okay, sir. Next question. This is the last question of the rapid fire. So, if you were on Coffee with Karan, we would have said that what is your favorite movie? But now I'm going to ask you, which is your favorite financial movie? There have
Financial,
been financial movies. There have been many
financial
financial
movie.
movies
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
years.
yeah. I think one movie I've loved a lot is the movie Guru, which is based on the life of Dhirubhai Ambani.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, wonderful,
Abhishek
wonderful.
Bachchan.
Yeah, Abhishek Bachchan,
Yeah.
wonderful movie. I've loved watching it.
Yeah. That was fun. So let's start with the main segment, which are the main questions.
Sure.
First, what is wealth in simple language? Our session is how to create wealth. So, what is
Yeah.
the meaning of wealth in the simplest of languages?
So, in my thought, wealth. Now, if you're talking only about financial wealth, wealth on a very broad perspective could be, happiness, peace of mind, contentment, and abundance. But strictly speaking, on monetary terms, financial terms, which is what your audience would want to listen to, is also is wealth for me is assets, assets that would either appreciate in value or keep adding money into my bank account. So for me, those that is wealth for me.
So, that's one of the biggest learnings of Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? Even
Yeah,
Robert Kiyosaki talks about what is assets and what is not an asset.
yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
Next question. What is the difference between being rich and being wealthy? Generally, we think both are synonymous with each other. I'm rich, I'm wealthy. But what is there any difference between that? If yes, then what is it?
Yeah, so in again, this is my understanding. Being rich is somebody who has a lot of income, and being wealthy is somebody who has a lot of assets. So in my 24 years of my career, I have seen a lot of rich people not being wealthy. They have, I have seen people who have salaries near to crore or in crores. uh, and when you look at their wealth, they would be having investments or wealth in lakhs. So it means they are rich, and because they are rich, they have built a standard of living which is not allowing them to be wealthy and create wealth.
Agreed, agreed. Next question. What is passive income? Even I had made a reel on active income and passive income. But can you give a little more overview on passive income and how to start your passive income?
Yeah, so passive income is income that you make without selling your time, so all your efforts, right? So most of the time, we are working, and that is why we make money. So if I'm in my CA profession, I go to my office, I work, and which is the reason my clients pay me fees. uh, and this is called active income. Somebody who does job, goes to their office, works for the month, and at the end of the month they get their salaries, which is again active income. Passive income is income which you earn without any additional effort towards making that income. So this would be something like a rent that you derive from your property. So you have your property, but somebody else is using it because you own that property, you get rent, so that's a passive income. This is something like an interest that you earn on your fixed deposits or bonds. Again,
Investment.
you have your, yeah, money which is lying with some other bank, and
Hmm.
you don't do anything, but even when you sleep, your interest is getting accrued.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and new age, way by which people are earning passive income is, by way of royalty income. You write a book,
Hmm.
and it keeps selling, and you keep getting your royalty income. uh,
Yeah.
for the new age creators, they make content on the internet, put content on YouTube.
Hmm.
People consume that content, and they keep earning their passive income from that. So again,
Yeah.
passive income is something where you don't have to do repeated efforts to get new income.
Hmm. Agreed. 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 Okay. So next question. Is there something called as good debt? I've heard this in magazines and newspapers. There's something called as good debt as well. How can debt, which is such a big liability, be good?
Yeah, so debt, as people understand, is borrowings. So if you want to borrow, and then definitely against that borrowing, there is something where the money is going. So we can borrow from the bank, or from from institutions, which is a debt. But if we are using that borrowing for spending on our travel, for buying luxuries, that is not good debt, that's bad debt, because the money from the borrowing is not used to make more money. But if you borrow, and if you are able to create assets out of it, you borrow and you create a property which can go out on a lease, and you can get some rentals on it, that's a good debt. If you are able to borrow and create a business out of which you can get monthly income, that's again a good debt. uh, Borrowing and buying a car, it's a very controversial thing. So while you enjoy the experience of a car, but purely in financial terms, it's not a good debt, because car will keep going down as an asset value, and it will
It will
keep consuming.
depreciate. Yeah.
Yeah, and it will keep consuming money every month on fuel and maintenance. So, yeah.
Hmm.
So any debt that you have borrowed for creating assets which can add money to you on
Hmm.
month is a good debt.
So is good debt basically that kind of debt which increases your wealth?
Yeah, it either increases directly or aids in increasing your wealth. So either you
Increasing
use
wealth.
it for your
Hmm.
business, grow your business, make profits, and out of that profits
Hmm.
grow, well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So next question: how can teenagers start creating wealth? Most of my audience is teenagers, and all of them want to know this. How can teenagers start creating wealth?
So first step to creating wealth is to save money.
Hmm.
So wealth can be created only when you have some money to buy assets,
Yeah.
and then those assets, if they compound over a period of time, it creates wealth. So first and foremost for teenagers would be start saving, and do some investments where you are not only making money but you're also learning, because as teenagers you are very early into the investment cycle. Most of I've seen a lot of people start thinking about investments only in their late 20s or early 30s. By the time they would have missed the first 10 years, or 7 8 years, where they could have made some investments and compounding could have kicked in. So, and also it's a habit and it's a discipline. So you may just be saving a couple of hundred rupees right now, and when you get into a job, that could turn into thousands, and as you grow in your life it could go into lakhs. But getting that discipline of investing, saving, investing, and also learning how you should be doing, because the earlier on you learn things about investment, the bigger benefits you get later in your life.
Oh, agreed.
So
So
again, from your
basically,
pocket money, put aside your 50 rupees, 100 rupees, and just start investing. Open
yeah.
a demat account, and understand how shares can be purchased. Do
Hmm.
a small mutual fund investment of 500 rupees. See what how mutual funds behave.
Hmm.
Put some money in post office national savings certificate. See how those compound over a period of time.
Hmm.
Put some money in a bank FD. See how it works. So experiment. At your age, you cannot go wrong. So just keep experimenting and learning.
Agreed, agreed. So we need to start early and lose fast.
Don't don't lose fast,
Not
but
lose fast, but you
learn,
learn. You learn
yeah,
by that.
learn fast. And in those learning, if you lose, that's okay.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Okay. So what is financial independence according to you? This definition might seem subjective to many people. According to me, it is at that point where passive income increases to the point where your normal income is dependent on the passive income. But what is financial independence according to you?
So financial independence, according to me, is having so much wealth, which can create a certain stream of income for you, because of which you are not forced to work. Right. So it does not mean that you retire and sit down at home, but it means that you are able to follow your passion in terms of learning and in terms of working. So the motivation for you to work is not to earn your salary at the end of the month, but motivation for you to work is to create some impact or learn some new things. So that conviction and that courage comes in when you have some kind of a income being created out of wealth. Now, how much is that income depends on your lifestyle and the way you want to live.
Hmm.
uh, right? So you may be just a person who is okay with earning 30,000 rupees a month and saying that I am financially independent because my expense is not 10,000, not more than 15 20,000 a month.
Yeah.
You may be a person who could be earning a couple of lakhs and still feel that your expenses are more than that and you are still not independent. So
Hmm.
what is that level depends on individual and their standard of living. But
Hmm.
anytime you feel that you can have enough money streams, income streams coming to you,
Hmm.
so that you can manage your current standard of living without having to work. So I think that's because that gives you freedom,
Yeah.
and freedom buys you time. And I think the best thing that money can do is can buy you time. So if you are able to buy time for yourself to do things that you love to do,
Hmm.
I think you are financially independent.
Totally agree. Totally agree. That's very insightful. So we have the couple of last questions now. The second last question: how to choose between savings and the "you only live once" ideology? We need to save money to be financially independent, but at the same time, you need to cut down your expenses.
Yeah.
The deal does not say to cut down the expenses. So how to choose between FOMO and being financially independent?
Yeah, so it's like no way living your life, compromising on your basic necessities while thinking that sometime in future you want to be financially independent.
Hmm.
You don't eat your pizzas and burger, and you don't travel by rickshaw thinking that I want to save that, so that at one point of time I have money to go to a fancy restaurant and be financially independent.
Hmm.
So I believe that balance is the important word here. You need to have the right balance in your life.
Hmm.
While you don't want to miss out on your small happiness and memories in your life, you don't want to be so extravagant in your life that there is nothing. And every penny of money that you earn
Hmm.
is spent on experiences or material things. And so what happens because of that is lifetime of yours, you need to keep working hard.
Hmm.
And I've seen people increasing their standard of living faster than their standard of earning.
Income,
So
yeah.
they're always in that rat race where they're trying to earn more to buy more.
Hmm.
And uh, and and I have seen that's a never ending journey as well. So
Yeah.
while you want to be enjoying your life, you should always be having a eye on your savings, so that in future you are able to buy your freedom of time. Again,
Hmm.
what we say as financial independence. So I have seen in one of your post, generally people have saving, earnings minus your expenses as savings, while you had
Yeah.
suggested that earnings minus savings should be your expenses.
Income, yeah, yeah.
And I think that's the right approach. You keep aside some amount, and for the other amount you enjoy. You
Yeah.
can't keep aside everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree. So now we are at the last question for this podcast. What is your one golden advice which you will give to every single teenager in India right now? That one advice which will change their lives.
I think here we are about creating wealth and financial independence. So any
Hmm.
advice that I would want to give should be in line to your topic.
Hmm.
Uh, so I think we spoke that you can be financially independent once you start saving money, and so now I would like to confuse you a little bit. So the confusion is that only savings may not be may not be able to make you financially independent.
Hmm.
Say you earn 50,000 rupees and you save 30,000 rupees out of it,
Hmm.
versus you earning 2 lakh rupees and saving 1 lakh rupees. So what I'm trying to bring to the point is, as a teenager, what you should be focused on is increasing your ability to earn more while you have the discipline to save. uh,
Hmm.
Only saving money out of a small income is of no good use. So what you should be focused on is increasing your ability and capability, so that you are able to earn more. And once you are able, and keep focusing on that. I think in today's time and age, there is no age for learning and growing in your ability. So while the teenage is the most important time when you can focus on your education and building skills in your life, you should continue investing in yourself, build your ability. And once you have built your ability and capability, you become a magnet to attracting greater opportunities in life. And once you have greater opportunities in life, you earn more. And once you earn loan, you have an option of saving more and building on greater wealth. So as
Hmm.
teenagers, while you want to save and learn about saving, I think you should be focusing on your education, building skills, and being more able.
Yeah. Totally agree, sir. Totally agree. This is one of the biggest takes from this podcast. Increase your ability to earn while also having the discipline to save. This is one of the biggest
You
takeaways for
summarized it
me.
well.
Thank you so much. That's one of the biggest takeaways from me for this podcast. And I don't think we have any questions in the chat. We will end the podcast. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your valuable time to us. Thank you so much to each and every one of you to join this podcast and listening to How to Create Wealth by CA Sameer Arora. Thank you so much for following us and good night, goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Sage. Pleasure